Hey guys.
Hello, everyone.
Happy Wednesday.
Yep.
Middle of the week.
It's been a busy day. So
Yes, it has been a very busy day, but we'll hold off. We'll wait for people to get in here.
true.
Just easy. I know you're
Hard
excited.
to hold back all the excitement for it.
Easy.
So
No. Nobody needs to know about that story.
Joe always has school drama going on.
I know. No. Joe wants to tell everybody a story. But maybe later. Maybe later. Okay? Focus on them brownies.
Yep.
Focus on the important stuff, the brownies.
So, on a cool note, as you can see behind us, there is still daylight, which is wonderful
Yes.
from daylight savings time
Mhm.
and the fact that days are getting longer.
Uh-huh.
So,
Is anybody else suffering? Are we suffering yet this week?
suffering.
Because it springs forward, you technically lose
Well.
an hour. You don't sleep anyway, so it's like nothing
Yeah.
for you. For me, I'm like, this
Same
is so
amount of
bad.
sleep. Different schedule.
I
So,
do enjoy that it's still light outside, but I found like my morning chores are darker. So, but that's okay. Like I'm okay with getting the hours at the end of the day when I'm not getting ready for work, where I'm done and we can actually be outside doing things and prepping for spring. Because I think spring is here.
Yeah, it was definitely
Mhm.
warm out today, so I think it hit almost 70, not quite,
Yeah,
but
almost 70. It's supposed to be in
it
the
was
70s
awesome
tomorrow.
outside.
And what is that? Sunday is the first official day of spring, March 20th. So we're almost officially in spring. So that's really exciting. I know this last weekend, I think we had the last gasp of winter.
Yeah.
Because it was really cold. It was really, really cold. And I know Saturday we didn't go out. Well, I didn't go out very much. I only went out to check on goats to see if maybe they were thinking about having their babies. But luckily that was not the case. They held off for me because I didn't want to have babies in the cold. That's why we got away from breeding boar goats and kidding out in January, because I got really tired and I felt like my goats got really tired of having babies in the cold. So
Definitely.
yeah. Hello, Betty Randall. How are you? Welcome.
Fairview Family Farm.
Yes. How is
Hello,
everyone doing? How was your week panning out so far? You guys having great weather there? That's like the first thing we ask everybody. How's the weather there? Because the weather here right now is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing. But we're going to get cold again this week. Not cold, cooler than what we are right now, which means we're going to be in the 50s versus the high 60s and 70s tomorrow.
And around here, I mean, honestly, we can get cold swings into April. Our final frost date to follow, I think, is Mother's Day in this area. So there's always a chance that things can get colder.
Yeah. So well, speaking of like our last cold snap, I did start seeds last Saturday. Sorry, there's a bird flew by. We have hawk issues, so now anytime I see like a bird even remotely flying outside, I'm like I have to look to see what it is. Hello, Joe Mama. How are you? Mama Burton. Lala. How are you?
Hello,
how are your goats? How's everything going over there?
She had a video. I haven't got a chance to see it yet today, but I think it was on her Kiko Buck yearly.
Yeah. And you guys did a live today too, didn't you? With like your milking routine and feeding bottles and stuff. So Fairview Family Farm says, getting some garden time in. Indoor greenhouse is full. Got lettuce, kale, and spinach planted today. That's so good. We're still trying to really get these raised garden beds full.
Yeah.
It's helping that we're using hugelculture, so I've been using lots of like big logs in the bottom and stuff.
Yeah. Use a little extra butter.
That's okay. It'll just be buttery.
Yep. Yeah, so we got our farmhand in the background up behind the camera
here. That way.
Actually making us brownies tonight, so can't complain about that.
Brownie
cookies, yeah. So it's like brownie batter, but like in the middle there's like little dollops of cookie dough.
So you make the brownie batter first, then you pour it in, and you make the cookies, and you make them in little bowls.
Yeah. We're excited for
Joe
that.
Mama said past couple of years it's been past Mother's Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
For sure.
I know that we are.
Was that last year we had that Lake Frost and killed our mulberries?
No, it was the year before.
The year before.
It was the year before. When we first started beekeeping, because I remember that day, Mother's Day, it was super cold. It bit my potatoes. We actually picked up a nuke of honeybees, brought it home, and then we were worried about moving them into their hive because it was so cold. We were really trying to wait till like the latter part of the day when it started to warm up.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I would love for us to be frost free now.
Yep.
Like it's killing me.
He
But
got
I
some plants
started lots.
downstairs,
Yeah. I
in our-
started lots of tomatoes and peppers.
Yep.
And this year I'm trying the seed starting mat so that it actually heats the mats up to help germinate the tomatoes and the peppers quicker.
Yep.
Because
We'll see
usually
how that works.
usually they don't take off. They just have like a longer germination. Hopefully this will help them to move forward because I'm almost always just like a jalapeno and bell pepper planter, but I got big Jim peppers, I've got habanadas, I've got sweet banana pepper, I got lots of different no super hot ones though. Just because like I'm not into numbing my taste buds completely.
Fear factor trying to see what we can actually eat.
Yeah, we're not really into all of that, but we planted some German pink tomatoes, black Krim, Roma. I planted a lot. I started lots of herbs, so like chive, cilantro, basil. I don't think I started any lavender. Lavender hates me. It doesn't like to be started indoors, by me at least. And then all of our brassicas types. So we started lots of broccoli, cauliflower, the Romanesco, like geometric looking broccoli. I started some of that. Sicilian purple cauliflower. So we started a lot of seeds, but now's the hard part. I have to keep them alive.
Yeah.
I have to get them to germinate, sprout, and keep them alive. So we used the seed blocks again this year because I just really liked how they broke apart really easy and were easy to transplant. So I'm really hoping that I can be a little bit more attentive because I don't think I did very good with those last year. I let them dry out, and my compost mixture was high compost. So I found like the outside would get crusty and the inside would be really wet. So it was kind of hard for me to figure out, like, is it really wet or is it really dry? And you can kind of tell like how that panned out for us. So I used just like regular seed starting mix for my soil blocks this year with a very, very small amount of compost. But we use in bunny brew. So we'll be gathering lots of bunny poo and basically putting it like in pantyhose and letting it sift in a bucket of water. And that'll be what we use to feed the seedlings once they sprout. So we are in no shortage of bunny poo. Or any poo for that matter. Really? Sometimes I feel like we're on a poo farm, not a goat farm.
Yep. Fairview Family Farm said finally found some. Is that not a
hepas?
Not a hepas. Maybe the J is silent.
That's cool.
Seeds. What are those exactly?
Is that a type of pepper?
I'm guessing pepper. Just by
because I'm thinking like jalapenos with habanadas.
Yep.
Something.
Yep.
Or habaneros. I don't know. I'm interested to see what kind of a pepper that is.
If it is a pepper, is it like more of a sweet pepper or hot pepper?
It hot? Yeah.
Yeah.
Banana peppers produce like mad. I planted 6 plants last year and still I've got Whoa, really? Because like I started a lot of banana pepper plants. I planted a lot of seeds. Hello, Tina Ladybug. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah. So our big news today is that we actually did start cane season today. Willow waited for my lunch hour or my lunch half hour.
We broke the seal about noon today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we have some on the ground. So fingers crossed.
Let her bond.
Here. Yeah.
Joe's like, please let me bring it. I'm like, no, it's not. I usually try to give them 24 to 48 hours, like uninterrupted, taking the babies away.
And the mother for this one, Willow, is very attentive.
Super attentive. She's a good mama.
She gets stressed out probably if the babies weren't nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an awesome mother, but
Joe's like not caring. She's like, let me bring them in. Yeah, but the first kid actually I had to help a little bit. Presented with one leg forward, which is not bad at all, but it was a big buckling. And then that second foot was kind of wedged back, like right underneath of his chin, where the other one was all the way forward. So he was a little jammed up. So I had to help a little bit to pull him. But
oh wow, Fairview Family Farm said me not being able to spell, just be like me. I always blame it on autocorrect. And then it said it's not a jalapeno. Jalapeno flavor, but no heat.
Oh, really? Wow, that sounds really interesting.
It's amazing how many different variations of pepper and how they mess with how like the heat factors and then how they taste. Yeah. Like they vary so much, and it seems like they're always messing with different species and trying to.
Hi, Wholesome Roots. That's Rose, right? Welcome, Rose. Hello, how are you?
Our kiddings
did it? I'm so excited for
awesome.
you.
So what do you have on the ground?
Yeah.
As
There's a buck and a
Ashley,
doe.
yeah, like Ashley always wants to know the buck and the doe ratio. So
Yeah. Or around here, we're like ornaments and non-ornaments.
Yep.
Bucks have ornaments, does
so
don't.
hopefully the doe fairy's visiting you.
Yeah. Well,
So
Willow's actually one of my better producers. She's just all the way around like one of my favorite goats. So I finally got a doe out of her.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait for you to grow up because I'm just happy I got a doe.
Yep.
Last year she gave me $2, and the first one to come out was
Yeah,
a
you can
buck,
wait
and
a
I was
couple
like,
years for a doe out of her. So
yeah. When I
glad
saw
to
that
see one hit
first
the ground.
buck, I saw the ornaments, and I was cringing. I'm like, please God,
Mhm.
there's a doe in here. There was, so we're happy about that.
Yep.
We have one in the kidding stall next to her. So last night, pretty much for me, was a every 2-hour night, which is
Yep.
why I'm like a little bit lower energy than usual, because like I'm very tired. But
Mhm.
of course, she acted like she was going to go last night, and then waited till lunchtime today. So
Hello, Lala Farm. They said our kidding season has ended. Thank goodness. That's
I know.
also a good feeling too.
We're not done
Once it's
until
over.
late May.
Yeah.
So I need to steel myself because we've got a lot more does to go.
Mhm.
So, but it'll be okay. It'll
Which
be
they
all
had a
right.
good kidding season from what I've been seeing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they've had a successful one. That's always a good way to wrap
Mhm.
up.
yeah. I'm kind of relieved at the end of. You look forward to it so much, and you
Yeah.
prepare so much, but the amount of sleep you lose and how stressful it can be and heartbreaking sometimes.
Yeah.
Like there is a time where you're like, I am done kidding, and I am so happy.
Definitely.
Yeah. Tiana kids, hopefully soon. She was due before Willow. She was due Monday. She's still holding the hostages. So once she's done, I don't have anybody due until next weekend. So I get like a whole week where I don't have to really worry about anybody unless for some reason she goes early, in which case that probably wouldn't be a good thing. So
Yep. Wholesome Roots said, yep, Rose triplets, 2 ornaments and 1 doe. She's the
well, at least you got a doe in there. Last year it was like ridiculous how many ornaments were adorning our goats. I was like, and of course, it was the first year I really invested in like a really good breeding buck, and was like, I cannot wait to restock some of my genetics and hold back some replacement does. And I think I held back every single one of my doelings except for one.
Yep.
And the one I did let go of, I didn't really want to let go of. But the one lady, she was buying a doe and was asking about that. And I'm like, well, I've retained all my doelings, so. Now I have 2 more where I'm like, you guys just kind of are where we need you in the program so far. So, and I plan to retain a lot this year because we actually have 3 bucks in the lineup this year. 2 that I paid good money for and will keep any doe off of. One who is homebred out of my favorite girl, Willow, who just gave me the doe that had just such a great growth rate that I wanted to put that back on my girls. Not to mention Willow's conformation and udder attachments are fantastic. Mark's like, great, all the dairy talk again.
Mhm.
He hears this all the time. He hears
Hello,
about
Haas.
dairy goats
How's it
and
going?
YouTube. That's all he
Good
hears
to see
about.
him.
Hello, Haas.
Lala said, we look forward to kidding all year, and then we just can't wait for it to end. Isn't that the truth?
It's so awful. It's a lot of buildup.
Mhm.
It really is. It's a lot of buildup. And then I'm always like, the doe fairy's going to visit, and then the doe fairy doesn't visit.
Yeah.
And then I'm stuck with all these bucks. And usually for Nigerian dwarfs, I mean, a lot of these, if we get lots of bucks, I will probably just whether. I think I've only got a few does that if they give me bucks, I will keep them as bucks. Whereas in the past, I would pretty much sell everybody as a buck, but now we've kind of moved towards that mentality that not every goat deserves to keep the ornaments and make other goats. So I only have a couple. Willow's buckling will stay a buck, 100%.
Yep. Margie's here.
Margie,
You're
so
not
good
late.
to see
Glad
you.
to
Not
have you
late. You're
here,
here. That's
so.
all that matters. She's talking
Yeah.
goat characters. I know. Mark is just like.
She's good. If you follow our page, we actually had a couple of Willow's descendants, right? Have kids?
Well,
So-
not yet.
Oh, that's right.
Not
Those
yet.
are still
So-
it's the other one.
One of our followers
Yeah.
here, Isaac, bought Willow's doe from 2 years ago in Bell's doeling.
That's
So
right.
Bell's doeling kidded
yeah.
out last week. And it was kind of funny because I always get the goat questions. I at least get a few a week. And I've never had anybody contact me with like one of my does that I've either homebred or that I had on my farm for a long time, and they contributed a lot of genetics to my existing herd. And I got to be part of those births. It was really cool. So for Mr. Isaac, they called and were like, I think she might be in labor. I'm like, you might want to stick around. And then at about 20 minutes later, like, if there's babies on the ground,
Yeah.
Because they're like, she's got a fever. And I'm like, sometimes they spike temperatures right before they kid. So you might really want to watch. She might be in the home stretch and you're just not quite sure of the due date.
And then we had what was the name of their farm?
So Sage Hill Homestead.
Sage Hill.
She's not on YouTube, but she is on Instagram. She took 2 does from us. We bred them here before she took them, and we also bred one of her other does. And they kidded within like an hour of one another. So that was really neat to be kept in the loop. And she did so. It is amazing sometimes to me when you have people that are new to anything livestock. Like really, this was her first go at kidding out goats. And the first one, the doeling came out fine, but then she had a big buckling, and he presented with just the butt. She's like, I can feel the tail and not the legs. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're gonna have to push him back in, and you're gonna at least have to get those feet and pull and start pulling. Just make sure that it's his butt and that he doesn't have like a head tuck down there, and you're maybe feeling an ear or something. And she was a champ. Repositioned, pulled. It was fantastic. And she's like, I think Tootsie might go, and I'm like,
yeah.
They like to do that. They like to kid on each other's heels. So within an hour, she had the next couple of babies born on her farm. So it's been a really rewarding experience for us in that way. Because I get lots of questions, but being able to be kept in like a kidding season and a kidding process that's not even on your farm, just for me, I was like, I feel so honored. But it was really neat.
So Joe Mama, I know she was talking to Margie, said hanging in there, exhausted, but I think that's a permanent state.
Yeah.
Yep. You're still in our prayers, hoping that.
Both of you are. I know you guys both with your partners and spouses.
I know we've been pretty worn out the past couple of weeks in general, just getting over some colds and sickness too. But
it's whatever we've had lately just kind of wants to hold on. It's not like a sick. It's just one of those like it feels like a light allergy almost. And it might be light allergies. It really might, with how warm everything's gotten all of a sudden. It could just be burst of allergies.
It's like for me today, I'm like an hour-long meeting for work, and I had to talk to the thing, and now I'm like a little bit hoarse from it. Yeah. So it's like just that little bug.
Or he coughed really hard, and I knew he had to be going on to mute.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no way would he cough into a meeting like this.
Hello,
Patty. Hey, Patty, what's up?
How are you doing?
We're glad to see you.
Haas said, do you line breed or do you take crazy meticulous notes?
I take crazy meticulous notes. Line breeding is not a terrible thing in the goat world. The big no-no is siblings. Mm-hmm. Siblings are a big no-no. Like you're really, really gambling if you do that. Mother to son and father to daughter isn't frowned upon like at all. And it's like the more high caliber bloodlines you get, like the better the goat is, the more you'll see that they've stacked line breeding. And I mean, you're still rolling a genetic dice, but you're either going to really express like the exemplary genetics out of there, or you're going to really express like the crappiest. Because you compare like the 2 best goats in your herd or the 2 best goats anywhere around and put them together, and genetically it doesn't equal the next best thing. Sometimes it's just like subpar or mediocre.
But she's also got to the point now, like she mentioned, we have 3 bucks on the property now. And there's benefits to each of them. Lovebug's still a little young, so we're still waiting to see what his best traits are.
But there is a ton of promise out of him structurally.
And it's funny, Flu's son, basically, Willie, I mean, he picked up weight and size
so
amazingly fast. Like he's already sized a Flu.
So fast. And I found that Flu's babies actually mature at a slower rate, because you will have some lines of in any type of livestock, rabbits, goats, horses, where it's just like they're young, have a slower maturity rate. And I've really seen that out of Flu. And I've talked to a lot of people. They're like, it might not be that like they're just not good growing kids. It might just be that, he's just out of a slow maturing line. And so far that's rang true, but that's why I held Willie, because that's his line with my best doe, and his growth rate was amazing. Now, just because I put him on does that don't give me the biggest or fastest growing kids does not translate that I will 100% get a better growing kid, but it does give me better odds to achieve that. So
I think Lala's been listening to you in our barn. She said ours picked the coldest and rainiest nights of the year. I'm convinced barometric pressure plays a big role in prompting birth. I've heard that, and then people talk about
full moons,
moon cycles.
We've got a pretty bright moon out there.
Is been pretty consistent for us
Yeah,
at times. So
that is
I mean, I
something I
wouldn't say
write
100%,
down.
but it's
Yeah.
definitely something to consider.
In all my notes, I've got, was it a waning or a waxing gibbous, or was it a full, or was there no moon? Because sometimes I found it that the doe's natural body rhythms kind of follow that. It's the same with hunting deer. Like when we have white-tailed deer season, like I will hunt by moon phases, and that'll tell me like how early do I need to get out, or do I get, like if it's been a bright moon all night long, I'm like, I know the deer have been running all night long, so I can probably wait till like that weird light between night and day.
Said, Lala, you're in Florida. We don't do cold.
Yeah.
Cold for what you guys are doing.
Cold for what you guys have.
Yeah.
For us, like Saturday, it was in the teens. I think single digits with wind chill.
Yeah. So when we had a couple years ago, we had the polar vortex that was swinging down from the north. We were getting negative. I mean, it was like negative teens. And I think at one point,
and that wasn't with wind chill.
Yeah,
that was just with the cold.
And the funny thing was, of course, like you said, Lala, they all birthed those nights.
They all birthed.
And it was actually cold enough where they were freezing before the months.
Before they could get
so
clean.
We had to have hair dryers, and we were bringing them in the house, honestly, to keep them going.
But I mean, that was one where it's like when you knew she was getting close, like you just kind of like sat out there until you couldn't take it. And I would come in, like we had one that she was really struggling, and it was like -20 that night, and I would come in for 30 minutes, and even then I'd like run back out to the barn because I'm like, I can't feel my fingers. I need to sleep a little bit, and yeah, they always wait for it to be. They always wait for it to be bad weather.
Looking down, David Outdoors said, hello. He said our screen is black.
Try refreshing, David, because I've got it. We're watching on our phone.
I promise we got the lights on here still.
But yeah,
try
to refresh.
Our feed bills haven't gotten so high. We lost electric yet.
We might.
Yeah.
Don't.
They keep going up and up.
Don't.
Yeah, I think last time we asked about what's the gas prices everywhere. Now it's too depressing to ask about that.
So last week we were at 409. We're at 415, wasn't it?
Today
415 was today. So it's slow a little bit, but still it keeps creeping up. So I don't know.
It's going to end. Haas said we were in Gainesville this week on vacation. We hit the 30s. I saw pictures of Owen. He's cute running around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The 30s are pretty cold down there though.
The what?
In Gainesville.
What?
Haas said.
What?
I said Haas.
Oh, they hit 30. Yeah. I couldn't hear you say the 30s. I was like the dirties. I'm like, what?
30s. Wholesome Roots said our coldest night is when the triplets were born.
Yeah, it always
they
is.
will wait.
Willow had mercy. Mm-hmm. She had so much mercy on me. It's like, good
Today's
girl.
Actually warm enough. We didn't end up putting heat lamps in there.
Well, I turned it on.
I mean, now,
because tonight we're going to get down to the 40s.
Yeah.
And when you were up to the 70s and then it swings down to the 40s, I'm like, you're asking for pneumonia. So I turned on the heat.
Those swings are pretty hard on them when they're just born.
Yeah.
So, Haas said, I'm just joshing.
In Syracuse. Ugh.
Oh, man.
Man, Dave, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
And I'm afraid ours is probably not too far off of the way it's going up.
Yeah.
Hello, Mountain Roots.
Hey, Josh, how are you? What's up, bud?
He's been doing all kinds of stuff.
They've been doing all kinds of stuff.
I'm
sorry I missed you on Monday.
Just watching your videos because I can't keep up with all that.
I know. It's ridiculous. What were we doing Monday? I had a 4-H meeting. That's why.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to watch from my phone, but our 4-H leader is yelling at the kids to put down their phones. So I'm like, I guess I should be a good role model.
I use the warmer weather to take advantage of some car maintenance. Mm-hmm. And our truck actually got it back up and running, fingers crossed. I say that now and it'll probably blow up next time I take it out. But the AC pump pulley was basically hanging off of it, and we were just crossing our fingers when we took it out.
Yeah.
To go pick up lumber for the garden boxes and feed, and I replaced that. So
yeah. It was kind of not fun. You're sitting there please.
I'm sure you all have had probably cars like that one time or another where you're like,
oh, feeling for I'm 119 to fill up the truck.
Ooh, man, that hurts.
Dang.
That hurts.
That is rough.
Oh.
That is rough. Well, we noticed just in town locally, we ordered from a local burger joint, and when I told him how much it was, he was like, are you kidding? I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I think we will, because we really do try to support our local restaurant. We went to a local restaurant this afternoon, and even then it was you can tell it kind of just is a trickle down effect with all the stinking gas with inflation and everything. So we're already thinking, as I'm saying that, I'm over here with my chicken fodder,
my
fodder.
A couple of trays of that.
I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the best because this might come in to save me in the wintertime because this fodder is not hard to grow. But we're also looking at like tree hays because we were talking to a really well-known Nigerian dwarf. And if you were in here last week, I probably talked about this. But he was already saying, he's like, after looking at the fertilizer cost, this was a month ago before all this crap really started to hit. And he's talking about fertilizer, and he's like, and then with the gas, he was just on there again. He's like, well, with all the prices going up for gas, it's going to cost me even more to run my equipment.
Yeah.
He's like, expect an extra $2 to $3 at least per bale. Because when he was doing the math, he's like, this is how much it's going to have to cost for me to like even make a small profit above what I'm putting in. And it's
hard to swallow.
Well, and this is just, I'm going to rant here for just a second. And I'm really sorry if this hurts anybody's feelings. Every time you're going to sit there and tell me to buy an electric car because of the gas prices, like I just sit there and I cringe for these farmers that are trying to put food on everybody's table and that they barely scratch by to begin with. And then you've got all these prices raising, and then everybody's going to be mad when the prices raise when the harvest comes. Then everybody's just going to be screaming and hollering. But then you've got all these people like, just buy an electric car. And I'm like, that's not the answer. That's the way of life for everybody. That's my rant for right now. I will leave that alone because like farmers work incredibly hard to feed everyone, which is why I'm like, everyone should just start a garden just to understand the hardships of actually trying to grow your own food, because you have people that like, you've got Roots and Refuge that makes it look so easy, but she's so well versed and that's just her thing and she's very good at it. Whereas like you have other people, they got a black thumb. Like it is hard to self-sustain and to grow your own food. I just wish people had a little more respect for our farmers.
Yeah. Joe Mama said 409 and went down from 419. Yeah, from what I'm hearing,
that's a little bit of relief. Down. That's good.
But I wouldn't count on it being
like
that way for too long.
Yeah, for like 2 days.
Or if it actually does go down. David Outdoor says my biogas I make in the summer is free.
Here you go.
So does that only work through the summer then? I didn't know if it also worked through the winter or not. Fairview 425. Northern Indiana.
Back's killing me, but I'm still kicking, but barely. Josh, you gotta take it easy, man.
Yeah. Your back's trying to tell you slow down a bit.
We mucked out lots of chicken because we're filling up those raised garden beds. We're using the hugelculture method, but I'm trying to gather as much compost. But oh my goodness, after this winter of like lots and lots of rain, it's creating some really rich, nutrient dense compost. But boy, is it heavy trying to dig it out to put it where it needs to go.
David Outdoors, I make my own power in the summer. Right now, that is a huge benefit.
When gas goes back down to $3.89, that's considered cheap.
Yeah. You feel like you're getting at a discount.
Still don't have my smell and taste back. Has been since I am so sorry, Dave.
I actually dealt with that for a little bit.
The taste would kill me, but my smell is still very, very off.
She'll smell certain things. It smells like chemicals.
The skunk. I don't smell skunk almost at all. Like it has to be like.
Was it pepper? You said that smells
pepper smells like like decomposition and chemicals. Pepper specifically.
That helps. Now she don't have to smell me, I guess.
Well, if you don't smell like peppers, I mean, some things I can smell really well, but there are other things where I can just tell I'm like, I can't smell that at all, or it smells weird. And then it translates to taste. Yeah. So it's like.
So she can definitely feel your pain on that.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I hope it comes back.
We know through church that's been dealing with it for a long time.
Hers was pre-COVID though. It's been years.
Yeah, but there's some others too.
Yeah, there is an older lady there though that she has like lost her taste for
so
long.
She turns in a prayer request regularly for it.
I know. I feel so bad for her. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't taste the cheeseburger. It would drive me.
Laura says I drive an F-250 diesel. The pump forces a stop at 125, and that gets me about 80% full. That means it's really high when the pump actually stops you and tells you that is your limit.
Awful. Thank goodness you primarily work from home. We feel the same way. We're blessed. We both work remotely. And then we curse our internet provider and beg Elon Musk to please move Starlink into our area.
I mean, like we were talking last week a little bit about it. It's getting to the point where really it's affecting your monthly budget. Like you have to start figuring out how many times can you go out a week. She's even looking at how many does can I keep off of the kiddings this year? Yeah, because the feed costs are going up.
The feed costs are and it figures I've decided this year that I'm going to milk test, but then because of the cost of feed that that you have to have in order to keep those producing at like their fullest can be kind of freaking ridiculous. So I'm looking into rotational grazing and hopefully, I don't know, tree hay, because I don't want to spend that much on I don't want to spend that much this winter. I mean, we have to. I will feed my animals regardless of what it costs. But if I can cut corners and do like honeysuckle tree hay, or if I can do any type of tree hay, then that's probably what I'm going to do. So I've been researching how much of what type of species I need per goat to get through the winter, which means I might have to make some pretty substantial cuts at the end of the season, which sucks because that cuts into our milk production for us.
David Outdoors said, did you guys get your watch hours yet?
I am in
We're
single
close.
digits. It's ridiculous.
So keep watching, David. Keep watching.
It's ridiculous. I have bounced from like 3 hours away, and then the next day it goes down to like 27 hours away. So I've just kind of stopped looking, and I will wait for the email when it comes. It is what it is.
She watches it closer than I do. I don't know.
I run it.
Fairview Family Farm said we had a 4-H council meeting Monday. They're already telling the clubs to buy shavings for our fair in July. They are predicting it will be $8 a bag by July.
See, that is just so ridiculous. Like, to me, that is just so ridiculous.
Crazy. You have to think about that far ahead just for things like bedding. But, I mean, going up to $8 a bag, I can see why.
Have they said anything to you guys about the AI or anything? Hello, Emma, because ours haven't said anything about AI, but I was watching Arizona Highland Homestead Nick over there, and last week he had on a professional. He was just an expert, like with poultry, and was talking about this avian influenza, and it said it's now been discovered in all 4 flightways. So there are 4 flightways that divide up the United States. And he said that's been detected in all 4 of them. So while and here's my dilemma. With the rise in all of the costs for feed, I depend on free ranging. When it starts to get green out there and the bugs wake up, that is how I feed my flock. Like, that is the primary way that I will feed them. And now with the avian influenza and biosecurity measures being ramped up, I try to keep them in as much as I can, but it's eating me out of house and home. So I'm trying to do fodder because I don't know. I mean, it's like, do you want to risk your flock, or do you want to actually like feed them and not go broke? Where I'm like, well, I can't afford to keep them anymore. And then you've got your conspiracy theorists like, it's all tied together. This is what they want. And I'm like, shut up. Just tell me how to manage my flock. So
David Outdoors agrees that electric cars are not the answer.
They're not.
Making biogas is truly. I'd agree with that. Haas said, I love to find a garden, but can't find soil anywhere near me. Sugar sand sucks for nutrients. I
am so sorry to hear that.
Fortunately here we don't have trouble finding it. I think
issues.
the price has gone up a bit, but honestly, the Rural King near us had, I think it was topsoil for like $2 a bag, and then composted manure. I think it was,
and then if you can get that in bulk, which we have up here, we have plenty of like landscapers.
Too far away, I'd bring them some.
Or I'd bring you some good old goat poo to put in there. And my duck manure actually is really great because the Muscovies have a cooler compost than normal ducks do.
Joe Mama's on the boat with you. She said that just pisses me off when I say buy electric car. They aren't dependable in colder climates. And they are freaking expensive.
I know. I'm like, if I can't afford $4 a gallon, what makes you think I can afford that?
Very expensive initial investment to get into that.
And let's not talk about the pollution that's created when they're making the batteries for those cars.
It's
to go green.
An answer. It's like everything else. There's pros and cons, and they're acting like that's a total answer.
Well, it's the same when people want to create these windmill farms. And I'm like, do you know what they do with those fins? They literally bury them. They have no use for them, so they bury them.
I was on a forum talking a little bit about that, and one of the guys was a mechanic for one of those windmills, and that's where we got some information from. He's saying they have a limited lifespan, they can't recycle them, and those motors and those things actually take thousands of gallons of petroleum to run for lubrication. So he's like, you're not really saving getting away from oil with them. Totally. So Dave Outdoors.
But we were super excited when he went to do his oil change. Walmart hadn't raised their prices on the oil for the oil change. So we were like, hurry up and buy that so that we have some of it.
Yeah, because the dealership went way up. So I ended up
way up.
Honestly, the price they had before was close to what I was paying for the oil and filter. So it's just made sense to let them do it for a couple
It went
bucks
up like $20.
to do it. But
Yeah.
it went
It
almost
went up quite a
double.
bit. Yeah, it went up quite a bit.
So
is not smelling skunk a bad thing?
Not at all.
Not unless I want to know if it's nearby and I need to get the dogs. That's the only time that I'm like, get the dogs, and there's a skunk really close to the house.
The other night there was 3 in the field, and I was like trying to rush the dogs in as soon as I could. David said making a biogas digester is a total about $200, and that's it. Runs forever.
I'm really going to be looking at that video because I'm interested in it.
Bought propane in a few years. I actually grew off my biogas.
Yeah.
Really cool. That is awesome.
Yeah, if anybody wants to check that out, I know you have a video on that, don't you, David, on your channel?
Watched it.
And it's something we're very interested in. Well, honest to goodness, we might all be driven to that before it's all said and done. That's
the truth.
Can't depend on anything. And honestly, you shouldn't want to depend on anything. You can depend on yourself.
Says, y'all, kidding season for us started yesterday, and today we lost a baby boy, the hardest loss. That video should be up soon.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Braxton. Ours started today. No bad nothings yet. But it seems like there's always like that one. But we did lose our barn kitty. On Sunday. We knew, like when you've got pets or you've got animals and you just know, like she was 11 plus and just has been a barn cat. Like unless she is like deathly ill, like she just she eats the mice, she takes care of herself, but we really could tell like the last 2 weeks she slowed down a lot. And even when offered cat food or like fish sticks or whatever, like our scraps, which she would normally gobble up, she was just turning her nose up at it. So we knew she was going to pass very, very soon.
Rex also said, otherwise we had twins and got a doeling.
Oh, yay. That's great.
She's always happy to hear about doelings.
Yes.
She was happy today with the twins we got.
I got a doeling. I'm like, okay, we're at 50%. We're 1 and 1.
Josh said, paid my Starlink deposit about 2 years ago. They're only about a year beyond the expected availability date. Yeah, that's similar to us.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be
we're supposed to
in
pretty
service
much
by
already have
now,
it,
and we're a little over a year now, I think.
Only Emma can
They're
brag
saying the middle
to us.
of this year. Yeah.
Emma with her Starlink
David
being
said
all bougie.
or you could make biogas. Yeah, we have.
Lord knows I got enough of it.
We got piles of it.
Yeah.
Pull some roots. Hope you get there soon.
Yeah, it'll come when it's supposed to. I've stopped. I checked just to check. I stopped stressing about it.
David Outdoors said I might do a live chat this weekend.
Oh, that would be exciting, Dave. Do that.
Yeah, that's something actually I've been urging Ashley. I'm like, man, let's get some guests on our channel.
We're really thinking about doing that.
So,
because I know we are super entertaining, but I'm guessing if we had someone to
also
interact
we've
with, it'd be
connected
better.
with so many people now. I'd love to be able to interact more.
Yeah, we've actually made some really, really great friends, and there's been lots of relationships.
We've had some fun interviews with other channels like Lala Farm. That was a fun one. And to talk to Rick and Lala. Alderman's was one of our first ones we did. And
then Steve over at Sweeney's Creek Farm, our friend from down under.
The snake
man.
Wrangler. Fairview said, I'm on the Poultry Advisory Board. I follow it and post updates to the 4-H poultry page when new cases pop up.
See, they haven't really done anything for us here. Yeah. So I meant to ask.
Kudos to you being on the advisory board and being proactive.
Yeah.
Ashley's on the GOAT board. And she got on there because it was hard to get information.
Yeah.
So she got on there and now has insider information. Yeah. And I just don't like when they don't. That shouldn't
really be insider information. It should be openly broadcasted information.
So kudos to you for doing that. That just helps new members. Because I know as a new member, it can be very frustrating when you can't figure out what's going on.
There's just a lot to pick up on that a lot of people don't realize goes into 4-H. So like I know for us, whenever we see like first timers and they're asking like, hey, what do you need? Like just calm down. Yeah. I know you've got 16 projects on the same day. We're there too.
Yep.
Where do you this is where things are at. So
Patty said, welcome to Chicklandia. Did an extra.
I saw that she had that. That's in my queue for watching later because I was really interested to see what she had to say.
Feel free to throw a link in here if you have it handy.
Yeah. Bye, Lala. Thanks for stopping in. Lala Farms left. I was saying goodbye to my friends.
Yeah, that was like 6 minutes ago.
Oh, we're really behind. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
No, you're good.
All birds here are undercover. I'm going to start fodder and fermented feeds.
Yeah.
That's the next thing that we're looking into is fermentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cat CGLs for life.
Yep.
Yes. For anybody
crazy
in here new,
ladies.
CGL means crazy goat. I've been designing it for like forever, and I just thought I'm having really a lot of trouble editing. I think I'm about 6 videos deep to get you guys to where I am as of today.
don't
It's
have
rough.
me out there building those garden boxes.
I do have the film. I just have to put it
I
together.
know.
You can
That
start
would
editing
definitely
if you
draw in
want.
your watch hours.
I
Seeing
know.
me
Look at
building
wouldn't
those.
this get the watch hours?
Me trying not to
this right
bend
there.
over in front of the camera was my main goal. Nobody wants to see that wide load across the screen.
We might
Fairview,
get a better click-through rate, and it'll put like muddy feet
not as
on
good
there.
as Muddy Feet. No. Fairview said the newest update I have 7.65 birds have been depopulated as of March 15th.
That is so rough.
Yeah, that's
That is
awful to
so
hear.
rough. Ugh, so rough. Bye, Haas. Tell Hannah I said hi.
Braxton said, "Have you all had a doe before set on a baby? That's what happened, and he passed in
Yeah.
my arms." Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
We had one that actually stepped on one's leg and messed it up. Remember that? And it actually ended up. What happened? It like got up into its joint.
It got the infection spread it up.
Yeah, it was so.
And we didn't wait long. Like the next day, I
Yeah.
took it to the vet, and the vet did an X-ray, and he's like, the bone is disintegrated. He's like, I have a feeling this joint wasn't well to begin with. So like he splinted it and everything, and she was pretty mobile on it, but then some type of infection spread up through her foreleg, and it took her.
Yeah.
And I have had them lay on their babies before. It does happen. It's so awful. Yeah, Joe knows those. I mean, that's.
I walked in one day in the barn and I was like, why? Where's your other baby?
Yeah, and it's underneath the bone. It happens.
Hello,
Livestock do
Dee's
that
Homestead.
sometimes. Hello, Dee's. How are you? What's
Fairview
going on,
said
bud?
6.5 million birds. Yep.
That's what I had figured.
But,
Well, especially when it hits those commercial farms. I mean, thousands upon thousands upon thousands
a lot of
birds.
when you think about it, though.
I mean, that is really rough. Because like I sat and thought about that here because someone's like, well, what do they do with them? I'm like, depopulate.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what does that mean? I'm like, they humanely euthanize them because that's the only way to stop the spread here. But to think that if like that were to happen here, that I would lose every bird on my property is just, I don't even know. Like that, it just kills me to think about that. That is just heart stopping.
Jemima said, how electricity is generated in this country, it's not green at all. The whole electric car issue is asinine. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Bye, Joe Mama. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah.
Bougie. Yeah, Emma, you're right. Did you know that's the name of one of our kids this year? I put aside Bougie and Babushka.
Hello, Mrazinski. Mrazinski, thank you.
He always
My
struggles.
cold has me mispronouncing words really bad right now. They said that it could be Crazy Garden Lady.
I feel like we've got something started
I
here. I have a shirt line that's going to happen. Just the CGL shirt line.
There you go.
Oh gosh.
What about for guys? It could be Crazy Gun Lord. There you go.
I don't know. Do you want me to make you a shirt that says Crazy Gun Lord on it?
That sounds like I might be insane. Fairview said we share everything with our families. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You should.
Yes, Muddy Feet will get you those final watch hours. It did seem to be like a popular subject.
Yes, I was very happy about that.
Stuff. Crazy Life.
Hi,
hello.
Crazy Life. How are you? Crazy Garden Lady. Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Hey, it is a really good idea though.
Yep.
I do have a notepad full of like shirt and merch ideas, but I'm not in the point of my year where I can do that.
Like you said, you're behind on editing too, so
who else? There's quite a few. How do you guys get through that? It's like, I'm not lying. I am about 6 videos deep.
Look at Patty, CGL in both styles. That's the way to do it.
I think so.
Definitely.
I think it'll work out good.
Speaking of Patty, how are you doing with the move-in? I know you.
Yeah, how's everything? I was reading your story on the Roomba.
Yeah.
Upstairs, like above your apartment, and I laughed so hard.
You got a kick out of that one.
I laughed so hard, mostly because like when we turn on, we don't have like a Roomba, like ours is like a D-bot or something. It's like a knockoff Roomba. But when when I do turn it on, which is very, I don't know, even though we have it, I'm like, I would still rather sweep my floors.
Yeah.
That it'll go into a room
especially
and
with
like
the dog hair.
Like it just pushes the dog hair around.
Yeah.
Then it'll go into a room and it'll get like on a towel, and the only reason that I'll know is because in the back of the house, it'll be like beep beep. Beep beep.
Yep.
Like, oh god. The Roomba's in distress
Emma said that
again.
Roomba story was hilarious.
I was
It was
dying
funny.
reading that.
Mm-hmm.
All I could see, Patty, was you running from like one end of your apartment to the other, following it above your head. Like
Yeah.
that just, I could picture it so clearly in my head. It gave me such a good giggle.
Crazy Life said, de-stressing because I watch you all and I live vicariously through you.
It will happen soon.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It will.
You
It
can
will.
live vicariously
Yes.
through us.
Live
but
vicariously
eventually
through us.
your
It's
dream will
cheaper
be
that way
Yep.
sometimes to live vicariously through other people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think today I was listening to some news because I always listen to financial news, and they were saying that they increased the rate a bit, and they think honestly the housing market will start to cool off along with vehicles, which I'm happy to hear because as
New
we've
truck.
mentioned before, I've been holding back on a new truck purchase. Honestly, now we got ours fixed. Maybe we'll hold on to it a little bit longer, but
which is okay with
the
me.
market is still crazy. So just keep an eye out. You never know what's going to pop up.
Yeah. Patty says, I'm far more settled, thankfully. Oh, it wasn't a Roomba. It was the stupid heating system. What? I thought it was the Roomba. Totally ruined my story. Did I miss that
a big
update?
LOL. So she's
totally ruined my story. I missed that update, Patty. Now I'm going to have to go back and find it.
Yeah.
Damn. Does your Facebook do that to you? I swear, if I start looking at people's like profiles or reading their statuses more, it's like all of a sudden Facebook is like, no, can't see them anymore. Need to see somebody new. Need to look at, or it tells me what I've been talking about
It's
lately
funny.
with all my advertisements.
Roomba.
It's what
I know. Emma said it too, so I know.
did.
Emma said she also has to live vicariously through Ashley because I can't get goats yet. We will always encourage goats, but we understand.
Yes, 100%.
circumstances
We were
may not
actually
work
on
out.
Freedom Homesteads live on Monday.
Yeah.
And Tangi, we are always telling Tangi she needs to get goats.
Yeah, we always mess
And
with
Jack always reads the comment, and I can always tell when he reads the comment because he's like, because he knows Tangi's gonna read it. So,
but we do agree that if you don't have the situation set up for it or not ready for it, definitely don't jump in.
Your waiting room is a classroom, right?
Exactly. So
your waiting room is a classroom.
If you want goats, we'll always be happy to encourage that. But at the same point, it's good to be ready for them.
Yeah,
so
100%. It's nice to watch other people feed them and not actually do all the work yourself.
That is true.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking that today because like my routines are starting to change in the barn. And I am such a wham cry baby when my routines change because it slows me down so much and it throws me off. I get so used to my routines and I find a lot of comfort in them. So when they change, like I am a big cry baby. You can ask him. I'm like, it took me forever to get things done tonight. But it's good because we got that extra hour of daylight. So just in time for my routines to become longer and to change. So
Patty said, my latest adventure is I bought an iMac after years of using Windows. This will be interesting.
Oh,
it is
boy.
a switch to get used to. I feel like the iMacs and just Apple in general are a little bit more user friendly, so I think you'll get ramped up pretty quick. So,
or if someone could just make like a legend where it's like this in Windows equals this in Mac. I'm sure it's out there too if you Googled it, but for me, I'm like, I want it like taped, like somewhere I can just look down instead of like having to go to Google and figure it out. Or pressing random buttons and like, how did I do that? Because that's usually how I figure things out.
At some point, she just gives up, and then I go over and have to work on it.
It does happen.
She doesn't ask for help. She gets frustrated to the point where she slams it down, wants me to notice, and then come over and help. That's usually my sign.
I'm too prideful to ask for help, so I throw a temper tantrum instead and storm off from it.
Patty said Facebook hates us. It hides friends all the time.
I know.
That is the truth. And I found that the people you snooze because you don't want to see their updates.
I swear they come back faster than 30 days.
As soon as they come back unsnoozed, it's like that's your feed now. I don't understand.
Anybody else bad for that? I have a whole list of people where I love them.
I think anybody,
we're great friends, but just their Facebook, I'm like, I can't do it. Or if they're having a dramatic point in their life where I'm like, I will text you and let you know I'm thinking of you, but I can't read these statuses because they kill me. So I snooze them for like 30 days because I don't want to defriend them. I just want to like a break from them.
Yeah. Dee said, I feel like I've spent a fortune with Stark Brothers this spring.
Aww.
Anything's being spent a fortune right now. Like we were talking about gas prices earlier. Everything's expensive.
Hey, Don.
Hello, Don.
You're late, but you're here, and that makes us happy. We don't care when you come in.
Mr. Sony.
Mr. Sony.
Yeah. He likes your
I am so bummed I missed Emma's Zoom call yesterday.
Oh, she
I
didn't know
missed it. Yeah.
Because you got a bunch of
Well,
inspiration out of the
I
first one.
did. It
remember
really,
you
the
saw
first one
uplifting.
really helped, even though I was, again, way cry
Yeah.
babying, like I always do.
Yeah. Don's
I'm
our
just a big
resident
wimp.
expert in all things photography.
Yeah, because theirs was all about
electronics.
storage and external storage. And I kind of got in on that like late to the game. I had like a whole year and a half of like filming that I never backed up anything. I never kept any of the raw footage. And like now I'm like, I wish I still had that instead of like downloading it from YouTube at a much less quality than it went up on there and trying to piece it together from there.
Life. Alexa is listening.
Does listen.
Yeah, I think everything is listening
She does
anymore.
listen. I hate when I'm talking and like the yellow light comes on. I'm like, I see you. Yeah. I see you.
Yeah, you're not hiding.
I'm like, we're talking about breakfast. It's nothing
Patty
interesting.
said Jack does not hide his thoughts very well. Yeah, you could usually tell by his facial expressions what he's thinking or how he feels about something.
There was a comment where they were talking about heating up spaghetti in like the plastic bowls.
I get a kick out watching
Somebody
Jack.
was
It's
like,
hilarious.
"What are you trying to kill yourself heating them up in plastic Tupperware?" And he read it out loud. And he's like, no.
yeah. Why would I be trying to do that?
I was just like,
yeah.
I would try to be really nice, or I would have just ignored it. But Jack's like, no. I just rolled on. I love Jack and Dave. They are the sweetest people in real life too. Like, I'm excited to see them in October. We made fast friends with them at the last HOA, and I've really kept up with them. I actually bought one of their shirts. I have one of their shirts on right now.
Be vigilant, be prayerful,
be prepared.
Yep.
Because I just love that saying of theirs. So
definitely need it nowadays.
And I think I'm gonna name a goat after Tangi since she's not allowed to have a goat.
Yeah,
and I love Tangi's name. I think her name is so beautiful. So
that will only encourage her more to get goats.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell her, and I'm gonna take a picture in the shirt too, and be like, Tangi, this is just for you, girl.
Yeah, Emma said, I'm totally ready for them and can build infrastructure. It's Matt that's the problem. Poor Matt's not here to defend himself.
Well, and here's the thing. He's either going to hate them when you get them, or he's going to love them so much. Like, I catch Mark all the time out there, like, cuddling a goat, where I'm like, it's all right. I didn't see that, but I know. But he still doesn't know their names. He's like, that brown one over there. I'm like, I have 6 brown ones. Which one are you pointing at?
Emma said, biggest issue with going from Windows to Mac is deconditioning, doing things the hard way. No such thing as plug and play with anything Windows. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
And I just get frustrated with Mac and its incompatibility to work with other outside systems or applications. Like my sync in my car for the audio and stuff. The Apple iPhone drives me nuts.
Mark fights with this thing every time we get in the car.
It just shuts off in the middle. And my brother will plug his Droid in, runs fine, totally fine. But my Apple phone,
it's just mad because you're playing Google or Prime Music.
Yeah, we use Prime Music too, and it constantly.
And it doesn't want you to play that. It wants you to play iTunes.
It's only
just give in.
Yeah,
just give in.
I'm trying to. They're too expensive. They don't have a Apple car yet.
Yeah.
Mrazinski said, we were going camping next week on our property because of spring break. The kids were excited. I told the kids no electronics.
Now they don't want to go. They'll have a great time though.
They will enjoy it more without the electronics.
Yeah,
honestly. I think that was a good call.
It is kind of crazy, like when they do finally figure out they enjoy. Because, like, I'm gonna say it real because I don't want Joe to know how freaking thankful I am. But this week, I don't know what has gotten into her. But in the last couple of days, like, she goes out and she feeds for me, or she'll take care of like certain animals for me. And I don't know if it's because my wah cry boo-hooing has gotten to her where she's like, Mom, you need to shut up. So she's just taking it upon, but she's been doing like a lot more outside, which is good. The weather helps, but I bet Rosinski's farm, I think they'll probably really enjoy it. They'll remember that more than they will like a Switch game. You know, they'll enjoy that a lot more.
Dee said, I missed the Zoom call also.
I know.
Patty, I unfollow some Facebook friends.
Yeah, there are some where I'm like,
I just can't unfriend them. I don't want to deal with the drama because like
I just remove them from my news feed. If there are people like I can't handle for sure, like I just remove them from my news feed.
I know some people like reach out and like make a big deal, and I'm like, it's Facebook. When is that like a
we know quite a few people
contractual obligation to be your friend on there or something? It's weird.
We've seen drama on Facebook about people unfriending them on Facebook and then posting the drama to Facebook. I'm like, what is going on here?
That's the bad part of Facebook. That's the ugly stuff.
And I'm like, I'm over here just trying to find time to edit a YouTube video. How do you find all this time to create this drama?
Emma said the Zoom call was awesome. I wish we'd recorded it to share next
That would
time.
be cool. That would be really, really cool if you
Mhm.
could do that.
Yeah. Emma said, haha, I don't have any issues syncing my iPhone with your car. Oh, I'm jealous.
I know.
Don said, me neither. Works great in my
Maybe
Subi.
it's just your focus.
I guess, maybe. I don't know.
My Kia Soul works
But you
fine.
see my iPhone. My iPhone acts up all the
It's
time.
all your crypto apps.
Yeah, I run tons of different exchanges on there and
All of
constantly
your
doing
apps.
trades. The dumb thing can't keep up. It'll all of a sudden shut down in the middle of
When
things.
we look at each
It's
other's,
only like, what, 6 months old now?
yeah, we got him in October.
Yeah.
And his, like, the next day, he's like, this is junk. I'm like, mine's running fine. But he has, when we go through and we compare our apps, I probably don't have more than like 15 apps on my phone at any given time. 150. Like, probably no joke. It's just like page, like, he just keeps,
all the different charts and everything.
it kills me. Hello, Dusty
probably
Goat. How are you?
So
good to see you.
yeah, good to have you. Or Rusty Goat.
No, we know. Poor Rick.
And a late happy
Rick got that start.
A late happy anniversary. They had their anniversary recently, so
yes. Yeah. How exciting! How's everything going down there? We have had a lot of Floridians in here tonight. You guys make me jealous with your weather, though. I see them like moving. They're like, "Oh, this should be our last frost."
Today we had nice weather.
Yeah, but it's not our last frost for sure. We're gonna get frost this weekend.
Yeah, Hidden Oaks was saying that. I'm like, man, that'd be nice to know. Hey, I can go outside and plant and not have to worry about frosting their plants. So,
I'm like,
and they also got what was it? Was it Brescia chickens? The new chickens they got too.
Brescia or something like that. Did they?
Yeah, they got them.
Did
they
I
were
miss
talking
that?
about. Yeah, they had a big announcement. I liked it.
So far behind on everything.
Yeah, you gotta catch up.
I was too busy pulling goats today.
See, Emma's running her phone right. She said my phone is pretty minimal. I don't have any games on it, so my kids call it a boring phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is exactly why I never put games on mine.
Like I
you
said,
used to, though.
Yeah, I used to.
He used to. I would not let them put games on my phone because I'm like, it is a tool for me. It is not it's not a toy for you. So
True.
I don't have games on my stuff
for me,
yet.
though.
The only toy I have on there is Wordle, and it drives me nuts most of the time. I have not lost a Wordle yet.
Lost a couple.
Yeah, I get so happy when you do.
It's a addicting game, though.
When he's like, I didn't get it. I'm like,
yeah. The only thing that stinks is it's only once you do it once a day. So
yeah, I wish it would reset a few times a day, but then I would never stop playing it.
There's one also that you do math problems like that. I haven't tried
nope,
that yet.
I wouldn't do that. Nope, that would be a game for you. No. I don't like math.
Rachel said it's good. Thank you. We are That's right. They're camping down there.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they had pictures in a tent. I think it was like raining a bunch, and they had to play board games. So
that was fun though. Like when we used to go camping, like as kids, the rain was the best part.
And
we love
playing board games as a family. It's like such a missed opportunity nowadays.
It is. We don't have many board games, but then again, we don't have a lot
of
sit down time
on some of the family gatherings, and we end up having so much fun by the end of it. It's
awkward family photos. Those are fun.
Hello, Rebel Canners.
Hello, Tammy. How are you?
On my way to buy supper, but I wanted to stop in and say hi.
Well, we appreciate you stopping in and saying hi. Tammy. But I wouldn't skip supper either, girl.
Yep.
I can't skip no supper.
Yep. So.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say something. You're like, all of a sudden, like,
yeah.
And then stop.
I'm trying to breathe because my cold and my voice is hoarse. But yeah, like, we don't want to. I was trying to think. I mean, like we were talking earlier, supper's expensive nowadays. Just food prices going up. So hopefully, Tammy, your supper is cheap tonight because.
Ours wasn't. Or not as cheap as it has been in the past.
Rachel says it's a great trip so far.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
Super glad to hear that. We are a week from Saturday, we're hatching out eggs. So that's happening.
Yep.
We've got some Lavender Orpingtons from my sister-in-law. His sister was so nice and gave me, because I just been transfixed by these purple birds. These Lavender Orpingtons, and they're so big, and they're just, I don't know, every time I see them in people's video, because Emma, you've got a few Orpingtons, right? And they just seem like they're so chill. And right now I have lots of Easter eggers and some mixed out bark that are
birds that are more relaxed.
They are not relaxed.
No.
But honestly, we have so many hawks here, there's no chance of them like really being relaxed.
Seems like bantams are generally high strung.
Bantams are. We don't have bantams though.
No, we do not.
I actually have a couple rooster. I have one rooster that's not a very nice
So,
rooster. He's about to go in
funny
the pot.
story on that. I went out to check the goats at one point earlier this morning, and I got excited to run back and yell and come into the house yelling to Ashley that we have a baby goat, and it was actually a rooster just nestled into the stall with the mother just acting like
nestled close to her and just like nestled down.
Yeah.
Mark's like, I was so bad I ran that thing out of there.
Yeah.
He's like the one chicken that doesn't go in the coop. He loves to stay in the barn because he knows goats get fed in that area. So like he doesn't have to compete for food.
Don says, love Lavender Orpingtons. We have 2 and they're our favorites.
Really?
Oh,
I'm really hoping, because honestly, like I've got a lot of Easter eggers, and I have a couple of mixes out from Old Reading Farm. We did an egg swap, and I have a couple of different, I can't even tell you what kind of birds they are, but a couple of different barnyard mixes there. And I've got salmon Favrils. So then I have lots of Favricanas, which are salmon Favril Easter egger mixes. But the mixes are definitely taking the flightiness and characteristics from the Easter eggers. So they're not like chill like my Favrils were. Favrils seem like they're the dumbest birds ever. They do not seem smart, but they're super chill. Yeah. Easter eggers, not so much. So I think I'm getting ready to redo my flock. I might, at the end of this season, go ahead and
some different ones from the egg exchange too.
Yeah. There's one that's got a little tuft. And she looks like a queen, but she is flighty as all get out. So
she even sees you in New York.
She even catches you looking at her. She runs. Like, I have done nothing but love you. So that makes me happy, Dawn, to know that you have the Lavender Orpingtons and you love them, because they every time we're over there, like I'm constantly watching those chickens.
Rachel said that their weather is very nice now after a cold weekend, and they're celebrating our son's 16th birthday and our 24th anniversary.
Wow, so neat.
Big monumental dates.
That's so awesome.
Emma said Matt cooked dinner tonight because I had to edit. He made ground beef taquitos with queso, fresco, and homemade salsa. Yum. That sounds
wonderful. That sounds really good.
Emma also has Buff Orpingtons, and they're so chill. Roosters too. Franklin is a chill dude. I love them.
Oh, Buff Orpingtons are good. I do like my wine
friend,
notes,
I think,
though.
just ordered. They ordered a bunch of chickens. It was like order of 50, and I think Buff Orpingtons were in there. Along with some, what was the ones that were?
He didn't want the red comments. She got red comments.
Because
he wanted her to get one breed, which is totally what this one would ask me to do. He just wants one, and I'm like 16. Like we need 16 varieties.
Yeah,
and I'm starting to see sometimes why, because like I've noticed the flightiness in some of these birds. It seems like that passes on over everything else. But they're making great eggs for me.
I just like the fact too, knowing like you get an egg, you know what it's from, and like if you want to hatch it, you know what you're going to get. You know, it's like it's not a bad thing.
Well, I know my green eggs are from Easter eggers, and I know my little pink eggs are from Favrils. And then there's the rest of the eggs. I have no idea who they're from.
Yeah.
Just a good portion of them. There's a good portion of them.
Surprise.
But I'm looking at. I'm such a sucker for like the rainbow eggs. Like, so I want a Moran, and I want an olive egg, or there is like a wow factor when people open that up. They're like, it's a rainbow. I'm like, yes, it is.
It's funny. People ask weird questions like, do you color these and stuff?
The one thought he almost wouldn't take it from me because they were all green. He thought they were rotten.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, this is just the bloom of the egg.
So you're rotten eggs and.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't.
So you no longer want our eggs.
Yeah, I was like, trust me, if it were rotten, you would be able to smell that it was rotten. Like through the shell, he would be able
Rachel
to tell.
says she's got tons of silkies, Ian
Chamanis,
Appenzeller
Spitzhabens.
Man, you know these names.
Actually, we have mixed Appenzeller Spitzhabens. That's one from the Old Reading, because they did have one or two of those. Did I say that right? Tell me I said Appenzeller Spitzhabens correctly.
Sounds like a funny name.
Appenzeller Spitzhabens.
I say it with a certain accent.
Like, new floppers.
Yeah.
We're weird. We make jokes with the stupidest accents around here sometimes.
I don't know. I don't get into the crazy breed stuff. I just like I like the barred rocks a lot. Like that's a standby breed for me.
The boring birds.
Yeah, I love the dual purpose ones. I like a big rooster.
I can agree with that. And and Orpingtons are considered to be a dual purpose bird, so I'm okay with that.
Honestly, at this point, we must need them with the size of the hawks we have. I mean, these things are. What did it land on the other day that you ran out to run it off of? What was it, that Easter egg?
It was a Fabricana. So
Yeah.
it was a Favril Easter egg, but
Yeah.
the Favrils are a smaller breed. They're like a mid-sized breed.
Yeah.
And he hit her and was ripping feathers off, and Marquis thought for sure she was dead. I ran out
Yeah, I
there.
happened to see in the window right after it happened and yelled.
And luckily, like, I chased this hawk off. It screamed and came at me, but whatever. The hawk is huge. It's a huge hawk, and he's very disrespectful about having his food taken from him. It's my food to begin with.
You can understand that.
So I'm like, please don't do that. But then I was walking because I'm like, well, I guess he killed that bird. I'm like, I'm at least gonna dress her out and I'll put her in a pot. You know, we'll clean her. And I walked right up to her and she popped up and ran. I'm like, you are the luckiest chicken. But she's missing so many feathers. I can pick her out of the flock now because she's missing all the feathers, like not the normal places where you can tell a rooster has favored her. It was bad. Yeah. It's bad. She's looking
Rachel
really
said,
rough.
love all the baby goats being born. I'm jealous. We love them all.
We love them too.
They are a great stress reducer for work. Yeah,
they are. You just go in there and sit, and they climb on you and stuff. Unless they're like the antisocial goats, which you do have sometimes.
On my team chat, we have a little Teams chat going, and posted a picture of it, and he's like, "That looks like the mental break I need for the day."
Yeah,
so sit with them.
Yeah,
so they definitely are good for that.
Yeah.
So on one of the calls too, I was like, I call them little tigers because they bounce around and stuff like that. And the guy's like, so these little tigers, how many are you expecting? I'm like, well, tigers is what I call them. They're actually kids. He thought the actual baby name was kids. Or
you're giving
tigers.
them bad habits.
I know. So I thought that was funny, but they definitely are tigers.
Mm-hmm, they are tigers. Mm-hmm. These ones aren't bouncing just yet, but the little buckling already today while you were gone was starting to.
When he starts to learn to walk, like their butt in there, wiggle. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, but like we did the math, so I have 12 to 13, 12 do. So let's say like they each have 2, which is very, very normal. We've had quads, we've had triplets, we've had singles. That's at least 24 babies somewhere in that house.
And fingers crossed, they're mainly does.
I like the way
we've been hit hard with the buck fairy the past
couple years. Think pink.
Okay,
I go out there and I'm like, I'm casting my feminine aura out onto these goats so that they give me babies that don't have ornaments.
Hey, you need to do something else because the last couple of years
it's not working.
Rosinski said, I can't wait to get chickens on the new property. So what breeds are you thinking about?
Yeah, do you have a certain breed you're liking?
Yep, or breed you've had
I do
good
like
luck
the
with?
Plymouth Rocks. They're a very hardy breed, which is a barn rock.
Yep.
Plymouth Rock is just like the actual breed.
Yeah.
The Orpingtons, I've really enjoyed my Wyandottes.
There's some beautiful Bantams out there though. Like
but they're not for purpose. Well,
yeah, but
for fun, they're fine.
Yeah, but
if
cool
you're really
looking,
trying to
they got some wild looking ones, and I mean at the fair you go through and they're very showy, and I can understand why people like them. It's like you said, the purpose is hard to justify, but as far as
I started with
Bantams,
so there's nothing wrong with them.
My brother actually bought some show quail d'Anvers, and they were
Belgian quail d'Anvers, and they are so cool.
Yeah, they're very cool. They almost have like a more natural quail look.
That's the color pattern. So like you have Millefleur d'Ocle.
Beautiful birds.
D'Ocle is the breed. Millefleur is like the color variation for that breed.
Yeah, they were very cool.
Yeah.
Emma said, "Let me know if you want buff Orpingtons. We got Franklin, so we can hatch them." There you go. All you do is offer
eggs
to hatch, and Ashley's on board.
Although I have been asked several times that like my goat mentor down the road, who she's actually
oh no, Rachel's gonna give you ideas. She said we have separate coops for each breed, so we know what we're hatching. Do not put that idea in.
I don't know. I'm so sick of building infrastructure though. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
Although we do still have our coop set up to 2 separate sides.
Yeah.
So if we did do separate pens,
when I wanted salmon Favril purebreds that last year, I did separate those breeding trios into one side, and they stayed in that side for a good 28 days just to make sure that what I was getting was salmon Favril eggs.
Sorry, because you jump off topic. I know you were talking about hatching eggs after Emma's.
Oh yeah, it's weird when people find out you have an incubator. People ask about it. Yeah. They're like, "Is it empty?" I'm like, no. Yeah. So like my friend Kate down the road, who's actually my goat mentor, when I first started, she sent me a message this week. She's like, "Do you have room in your incubator?" I'm like, "Not for like another 12 or so days, then it'll be open." But then my nephew was over yesterday and was looking at the eggs, and he's like, maybe I could take your incubator home. I'm like, not yet,
Yeah.
but maybe after I'm done with this hatch, yeah, you can. So it's kind of funny. People figure out you have an incubator and they're like, is there anything in it?
Yeah.
Like, yes, at the moment there it is. But
Rosinski said Rhode Island Reds and Americanas.
I
They're
think
two
Rhode
good
Island
quality
Reds are really
breeds.
like
Yep.
chill birds too. And they're common. Sometimes that's nice when you get like these common breeds because they're not hard to come
We
across.
had a real pretty Rhode Island red rooster when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Dude loved
Big
eat
red
frogs
Fred.
too. Like he would catch frogs pretty often. And then
Yeah.
we'd run around the farm and we had pretty tame, so he'd come up and show us and the frog's legs would be hanging out of its mouth.
He just wanted to show his pride.
Yeah.
It's like
look
a
what I
dog.
caught. So
Or like a cat dropping off a vole on the
and they
front
were
step.
pretty productive egg layers from what I remember for us too.
Really?
The Rhode Island Reds, yeah.
Yeah.
Americanas are pretty good too, but they're awesome because they lay the colored eggs. Like Ashley said, that's definitely a fan favorite.
So Fairview Family Farm said they have breed pens separated out but my layer flock is the rainbow.
Mm.
See, I'm just cool with the layer flock.
Mm-hmm.
We keep talking about I cannot specialize in anything more. Like the dairy goats really are taking everything from me.
Yeah.
Not taking, I'm giving them pretty much everything.
Like but the ducks, like we just have.
Yeah, but I've heard Muscovy ducks are like notoriously difficult to hatch in an incubator.
Mm-hmm.
They go 35 days, so they go
but
about
they're very
the same.
prolific.
They're
hatching
super prolific.
I mean, we had some a hen that was basically trying to lay or hatch eggs in January. So it was
didn't work.
It was
didn't work, but she put in 2 or 3 weeks before she finally was like, "Nah, they're not going to do anything." Yeah. And when I got in there, they were all definitely rotten. They were not good eggs, but they were wonderful to throw into my raised garden beds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they went.
Yep. Rachel said, "I'd like to have a rainbow group of egg layers, but no space for more coops right now." Yeah. Yeah,
we've got the one big coop, and I'm just like I said, we're trying to get the duck pen done and the duck coops in there done. And then after that, like I'm done with infrastructure for a while, unless it has to do with the goats, in which case then I will work on it.
Yeah.
But like we're wanting to get a sliding door in the back of the barn. We're getting ready to put in another door on the kidding side so that I have easier access.
Duck shelter to build too.
We have a duck shelter to build.
Emma, get started on yours so we can use an idea for plans. There's just not a lot of good plans for like
a lot of cool ones out there.
Large group of ducks. Like a lot of them are these little individual like duck houses that go out near ponds or little like floating areas.
Well, we have 17.
Mm-hmm.
We have 17 right now.
And we're looking for more of like a coop style with that many. So I guess you could, in a way, build a chicken coop, but again, they don't really climb well. So
they don't climb well, but then again, they are better flyers than most ducks as well. So
yeah, that one that was hatching eggs would make like routine flights around the house to get exercise. So you just see it fly around the windows. You
could tell what time it was by the time of the day that she was flying. She would do it twice a day, and it would be just weird because you see her fly by the windows. I'm like, oh, she's going for her daily stroll to get up and stretch her wings.
Zinski said, "I love watching baby goats play. I was over at Roots and Refuge the other day, and all I could do was laugh at them playing." Yeah, they're so entertaining, especially when you get like a cluster of them or a group. They all just feed off each other's energy. It's awesome.
They do. They get their jumpy sticks going.
Okay, can you read the next couple?
Yes. Are you gonna cough?
No, my voice is getting hoarse. That's why I'm like stuttering now.
It says Ashley wants silkies. I can hook you up. I like silkies. I do.
Mm-hmm.
The incubator is never empty. Rachel, it sounds amazing. Mine stays empty. Mark's like, no, it's not. Basically, we don't need more. Actually, I just say incubators, plural. Whoa, how many incubators? Let's hear that. How many incubators do you have? Dee says, do you know of a breed of chicken that fishers, bears, coyotes, raccoons, eagles, and hawks will little? No. Everything loves chickens.
Yeah.
Everything. Now, I have heard of liege fighters. Those are supposed to be like big chickens that are not afraid to like duke it out. But when it comes to teeth and a very hungry predator, I mean, there are the one-offs. Like you've seen that one right now of that rooster that's beating the hell out of a hawk that's come in and tried to attack the flock. But then I'm like, that's not a big full-size hawk either. That's more like a Cooper's.
Yeah.
Like it's a small breed of hawk. Whereas like we have big red tails and we have bald eagles out here and big great horned owls that love to take chickens.
I mean, that's the bad thing with chickens. They're prey animals, so they're
That's
going
why
to be
they're so
subject to
prolific
predators.
too.
But
That's why they have a 21-day.
Yeah, I mean, in the coop, we've run strings across the top to help keep
hawks out.
flying animals out. Of course, raccoons are troublesome because they will weasel their way into areas they shouldn't.
The worst thing I think we've ever had though is a mink.
A mink, yeah.
A mink will go in and kill your entire flock in one night.
Yeah, and the fact
Fox
that
is
they
bad, too.
can get in very small areas, because basically wherever they can get their head in through, they can get through, and their head is not that big. So, and they're honestly pretty vicious.
Yeah, they.
Nothing
I'm
was
surprised when I came across it that it ran, but I feel like it only ran because it was pretty much sated.
Although I will say bears sound scary. I wouldn't want to mess with a bear.
The only thing that's going to keep a bear off is a couple of LGDs or some very, very high voltage fencing to keep them away. But no, I don't know of any type of chicken where they're just like, no. Because even like the black chickens, sometimes I've noticed the black chickens, it seems like the hawks stay away from more because I think they think they're crows. But even like if a hawk is driven, a crow pecking or cawing it's not gonna deter it if it's hungry.
Emma said that's a video that will be out tomorrow, but we built it for a smaller flock as we only have 8 ducks. Hey, we'll just build it bigger.
Yes.
For our 17, but I think that might sound like a winner. Did you guys end up building on the skis? I know Matt had mentioned skis, which I think is a cool idea, so you can move it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, especially like chicken trackers. Mink or nasty vermin. And she says, none D Homestead. And Mrazinski says, none D Homestead. You can be the chicken with the shotgun.
There you go.
It's pretty much how it has to be. I mean, we've gotten really lucky here with the coyote pressure in the past couple of years. But it's the point now, even with my miniature donkeys, I am seriously looking into LGDs, especially because of how much money I put into my goats. Like specific goats in my herd, if they were to be taken by a coyote, or even worse, like pregnant like they are, like it's a big financial loss. Like it's not like a little loss here. It's emotional and it is a financial drain if that were to happen. So the donkeys though, man, the miniature donkeys are what is kind of keeping us from really pulling the trigger quickly on an LGD. Just because I don't want to bring in a dog and throw it in with the donkeys or feel like they're good with one another and the donkeys to stomp it to death. Because honestly, Lola, if I turn my back long enough, even with the dogs coming in with me every day to feed the goats, she would love to stomp them to death if she could. And she will go after them. And I've never deterred her. If anything, I call the dogs back. And if the dogs come close enough to me, it's like she gets the point. Like, no, these are mine, and you leave them alone.
Yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, I feel like Lola would stomp the crap out of a coyote. If there were multiples, we'd have an issue. But I think Lola and Rennie would have no problem with a single coyote.
They're showing some aggression. Definitely. So. Or cats.
They hate cats.
Yeah.
Hate them. They hate small animals, but donkeys are known for that, which is why we have 2, because they would probably, if they were by themselves, they would play rough with the goats, which is why there are 2.
And what Patty said, mink or nasty vermin, they definitely are. The one thing we noticed when we trapped the one was the cat pee smell. Man, it was so strong.
And it got worse after it was dispatched. Like skunk bad, where we were like, whoa, did not know mink. I mean, we must have nicked a scent gland or something. It was but
vicious. I mean, it was in that foot trap, did not back down.
Never broke eye contact.
And honestly, had pretty much eaten through some of its leg. It was not going to be there much longer. So we had to quickly take care of it. Fairview said lost 13 layers to a mink 2 years ago. We bought an LGD. So far, so good. Greta keeps everything out. You get a good LGD just really helps resolve a lot of problems. One hard thing that we have situationally wise here is the different pens. So our chickens are outside the goat pen, and honestly, like Ashley said, the goats are definitely our priority here. So we'd have the LGD in with the goats, and unfortunately, the chickens probably wouldn't have as much cover.
And I know just their presence is usually going to be enough.
Yeah.
But
I worry something like sneaky, like a raccoon or something like that.
I
don't know.
I don't know. It's one of those things, because then a lot of people have been like, well, then let them roam, and I'm like, but that's only applicable if you're in an area where it is safe to let them roam.
Out here, I hate to say it, everybody lets their dogs roam. The dogs are all over the place.
Yeah.
Even ours will try to run off across the road. And
every now and then it's like, no, stay here. You're supposed to stay on your property.
Definitely enticing for them to go somewhere else because there's dogs everywhere.
June will chase a hawk from here to the end of the county.
Yeah.
Because she's gotten good about checking the air when she goes out, but she'll chase after buzzards and hawks. She's got
some instincts to it. So.
Well, she's half Great Pyre,
yeah.
So it makes sense. But
Emma said they added skis to the duck house. We have them on everything: chicken tractor, chicken coop, and now the duck house. I saw that on the chicken coop. I thought it was a cool idea because you're able to just hook it up to something to pull it and just pull it right out, which is nice, and move it. So
we don't have minks in our area, thankfully. Yes, that is thankfully, because they are. I mean, we even went by one last winter, and we drove by it, and it didn't move off the road. It literally was like looking at us as we went by. They have no fear. They're supposed to be reclusive, and they are for the most part. But when they're hungry and they figure out they've got an easy stash of prey, or they found a weakness in your fencing, like it's all over.
But like you said too, the problem is they'll go through and kill the one we had that
blood drinkers. Yeah, they're blood drinkers,
and just basically left bodies everywhere.
That was horrific. Yeah.
So
that was an awful night. Just like throwing body after body after body out of the coop. Where I'm like, we started that night with 23, and we ended up with 10.
Yeah.
It went through 13. And the only reason it stopped is I interrupted it. I came out to close things up, and it was in the middle of killing chickens. So. Well, hey, Brad, what's up?
Farmer Brad, he said, congrats on the goats.
Thank you. We're excited. It's just the beginning, though. We're kidding until
he said,
May.
I'm about ready to go out and repair the electric fence.
Yeah. Oh, man, in the dark, bud?
Yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do when you work a full time on top of homesteading and raising livestock. It's really not like a real quitting time.
Don says, go run. Have a great night,
Bye,
y'all.
Don.
Thanks for stopping by. Good to have you.
I don't wish mink issues on my enemies.
Oh, no.
I totally agree.
Yeah, they're just a hard...
I totally agree.
They're pretty intelligent, and like I said, they can get into a lot of different things because they're so small.
When we trapped this one, I did not think we were going to trap him, because they're not known for being easily trapped. I think I just funneled him correctly, and he was hungry and coming back. Like, figured out where he was coming in. I feel like I did an adequate job of setting a trap and putting good cover on it, but and then just gutting chickens and leaving them in the run overnight, which was awful to gut open your own chickens and just throw them out and be like, well, this should be enough to try to bring him back.
Though.
It worked.
We knew what he was after and definitely used it to our advantage.
Oh no, the sheep were going across the street.
Oh.
You mean your neighbors don't like visiting herds of sheep?
We've had our moments. One time we went out to eat and shopping or whatever, and we didn't realize we left one of the gates open, and on our Ring camera you could just see a herd of goats running one way.
Yeah, and they came right back.
And it was,
with donkeys.
It was a fun video to watch. Like, after we got them all in, we watched that and actually had a good laugh.
We were dying laughing, but like when we saw it while we were out, we were horrified. It was like, oh my God.
Like, well, look at that people.
That happened once with the llama too, though. Remember, I was driving in the dark, and the llama was black, and I could barely see him coming down the driveway, leading my goats down the driveway. I'm like, get your butt back in the pen. We should be better about closing gates. Sometimes it just, you get in a rush.
Yep.
It's not the only time that it's happened.
Patty said a mink farm not far from me was hit by a, was that PETA? And they set it on fire. Oh, hit by PETA. And then they set it on fire, set the minks free. They went into the city right next to the farm and caused damage everywhere.
This is the problem when people like that don't understand like the ecological impact of just releasing. Like, they're not apex, harm. But like they are serious predators.
They've done more harm to the environment by doing that than actually them being in that on that farm. That's ridiculous.
I understand being driven by a cause, but then how you act on that cause and how you solve problems cannot just be so sporadic and spontaneous, because even that ecosystem, that totally throws an ecosystem having that large of a population that ecosystem is not used to sustaining and supporting just unleashed. Like it's not fair to anything in that area, especially not the mink, because well, they're survivors. Most of predators, they're that voracious, will survive, but they decimate populations. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. From Brad said, so I need to get it all energized and adding another line. The sheep won't go anywhere. They always return. That's a good thing. Ashley can get them all back in our pen with a feed bucket. They follow that religiously.
Sometimes I'll just grab gravel, throw it in the bucket.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you guys have been bad. I'm not feeding you for being bad.
Yep.
So, it works.
Fairview said, I have the mink on the game cam fighting with a 3-year-old Dominique rooster.
What?
Couldn't believe that little stinking mink to out a large fowl rooster. They are mean.
Mean.
They sort of have that mentality that they're not going to back down. And Markham's Meadow.
Hello, Markham's
Meadow. Saw your
Meadow.
new babies on Facebook. So cute. Kidding is nearly here for us too.
Oh, how exciting.
That's awesome.
You sit on pins and needles, and then you get all the restless nights where you, if you're like me, and I always feel like I'm scared to death they're going to do it at night when I'm like, hit the snooze button. I'm like, she didn't look close.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just let it go. And then that's when like all of my worst nightmares will happen. So
for sure.
I'm ready for bed tonight though. Yeah. They've been super healthy. Willow is a great mom. They've both nursed. So I feel okay. Not unless Tiana, I go out there and she's acting like she's going to do something, which she might. I mean, it might be
her due date was actually before Willow's. So
yeah, hers was Monday and Willow's was Tuesday. So
we're keeping a close eye.
Yeah, just hurry up and spit them out, okay?
Yep. So Markham's Meadow, how many goats do you have bred, and when are you possibly expecting their first due?
What breed?
Yeah,
what kind of goats?
We are definitely goat people.
Yes,
as Ashley's been called the crazy goat lady. So CGL.
Good to have you, Dees. I was glad to see you again.
Yep. Markham's Meadow said, yes, I got my baby monitor ready to go. Yeah, I've honestly been on the fence, and we think we might try is getting like a little Wi-Fi hotspot and putting it in the barn with a camera so Ashley can watch. Or maybe we'll just put it on YouTube, and then people can tell Ashley, hey, wake up.
Yeah.
CGL, your goats are having babies. You're asleep.
Oh, gosh.
God, that would get Ashley out of bed like you would.
In a heartbeat. I woke up last night like at 11:30. I had my alarm set for 12:30 and just stood up, was like, is it time? Did my alarm not go off? I think he got the hint because then he went outside.
Yeah, still awake. So I was like, I'll go out and check. So, and then she won't go sleep until I come back in to make sure everything's going
It's not like I slept. But I'm not joking, guys. A good portion of the time, if he goes and checks, someone's having a baby.
Yeah. Like
more times it's happened than it has not. When he goes out to check for me, someone's like getting ready to go into labor or is deep in the throes. So Markham Meadows said, we have 4 does, Nigerians, and 1 pygmy, all due anytime. I thought I had all the due dates, but beginner's errors. So we will see. It's our first kidding and theirs. Oh, that's exciting. I bet you will do just fine. Just breathe through those stressful moments. Yeah, that's my number one thing. I get frantic when I start to get frustrated with a situation, like repositioning babies. This one is really good about saying, have you met your limit? And if you've met your limit, you need to stop and call the vet. So there's not been many times. But
to be honest, the more you go through and versus you've been, worked with, that limit does also increase.
It does.
When we first started, of course, that limit was low. Hey,
not
there's no progression within like 45 minutes, a half hour or so. Let's go ahead and get a vet to possibly. Now it's, hey, let's try to consider repositioning. Let's look at where, the mother is right now in the process and stuff like that. So that limit does.
It does grow.
It does.
The parameters get a lot bigger. And also, like, if you have does that stay on your farm for a long time, you start to know that doe's signs of, like, she's tired, she's done. Like, we need to load her up and get to the vet, or we need to get the vet out here right now because it's not looking good. Yeah. There have been few and far between instances like that for us, but they do happen. I mean, just make sure I always try to go through some mental exercises prior to kidding and brushing up on all the positions that a goat can be in, because half the time when they're in bad positions, you cannot see them. Like, you might be able to see a very small portion, but if they present incorrectly altogether and there's lots of pushing for 30 minutes and 0 progress, it is time to glove up and go in. And there have been times with those Nigerians, man, it's hard sometimes to get into like a very petitely framed doe where I reached it, I'm like, it's rib cage. Like I just felt like I was just running against like a washboard. I was like, it's a rib cage, and I couldn't get in reposition. I remember that when I had to call. But 9 times out of 10, mommy can work through it, and 9 times out of 10, you can help mommy work through it. So just be calm, you'll be all right.
Fairview said, "Oh, wise outdoor camera in the kidding room last year. It was great.
Was it good?
We definitely. Need
I've looked into that. I need to look into that.
Is the wise outdoor cameras, are those running off Wi-Fi, or are those like a 5G plan that they come, or
I would like a 5G plan.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really would. Because we were hoping to maybe run it off of our router, but our router's all the way over there, and then the barn is a good 30 yards that way outside the house. It would be difficult to run it.
Barn's probably just outranged, and not to mention when you have a metal barn, it doesn't really help transmit signals at that point. So they said it was Wi-Fi. Cool. So
that's good.
I think we might try getting one of the, especially with like 5G being more relevant, and it's out in this area, I think in some cases. The T-Mobile and Verizon have some home plans that are actually pretty reasonable that we might be able to try. So
Markham's Meadows said, "Thank you. I have an amazing mentor. So important, like extremely important, thankfully. And I have watched tons of videos, and I'm as prepared as I can be." That's good.
You sound like you're set up for success.
That sounds like you have set yourself up to be successful. That's super awesome. I know a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
It's been crazy, some of the conversations we've been part of before.
Yeah. Markham's going to say, we're just using a regular baby monitor. It works. Just plug in the Wi-Fi. Yep. I mean, that works too. But honestly, like Ashley said,
way too far.
Pretty far away. So ours is just manual checks that Ashley does through the night.
And I'm used to that. And honestly, and it would probably be different if I had...
Jay
is in here.
Hello, my friends. Miss you guys so much. Along with all the other YouTube family. Sadly, we have zero time for YouTube these days because of our new work schedule.
I know.
Totally understand.
It'll get better.
Ashley's struggling really bad with editing.
Yeah.
And
I didn't have a big weird change in my work schedule.
She's like, can we still do live? She's like worried about our upcoming schedule. So we're going to try to work the best we can around it. We figure
while we've got the time and the ability now versus
like I said, I like
in
all
a week
the
or
people
two.
we get to meet with each week.
I know we do have like some of the best people.
Yeah.
We do.
But Markham's, I guess she said she's just getting up and checking at regular intervals, checking on the progress being made. And
I'll say I hang out a lot longer too because I'm already up. Because I've had to put on shoes and a coat and then walk all the way out there. And usually, like, I'll stick around for a little bit. Are you checking on T?
All right, let us
know. Thank
you. Yeah, she's been good about checking. Up the dogs are going to come out with you too, kiddo.
And I worry that it probably wouldn't. I would probably learn to be a lot better about it. I worry that if I had like a camp, because I really like to sleep. Like I'm a really heavy sleeper and I don't like to wake up. Pop up for goats, but nothing else.
Yes. Emma said we're thinking about getting some Ring cameras. Haven't decided yet. That's what we have for our home.
We love our Ring cameras.
And we've been happy with them. We've actually got one now in the backyard, one on the front yard, which you guys probably saw the video, the coyote. That's what that one was. We have sensors pretty much throughout the house. Got a camera downstairs for my gun stuff. Then we have a smoke alarm detector because we live far enough off the road. We're worried if something did catch on fire,
people wouldn't see it till it was like engulfed.
So honestly, I've had good luck with them. And you heard how much trouble I struggle with Apple products apparently.
Yeah.
So Ring works for me. I guess it's pretty good. I don't know. But
see, that's what I would want it for Fair Family. Because like even for like baby checks, I feel like I would look at the screen and say no babies. And that's not near as good to me as going out and looking.
Prying her away for dinner tonight because she wanted to stay in there and just keep eyes around the farm.
I just want to watch, I want to watch. I want to make sure everything's okay. And I'm afraid I would look at my screen and say no babies, 2, 3, put it down, and then that's when she would start having contract. Okay. If I walk out there, like usually at night, I will stay out there a good 10, 15 minutes and watch and go, nothing. Boo.
Yeah. False alarm. No.
Big lazy look.
Well, not false alarm, but no.
None yet.
Updates yet.
Girl, I love sleep too. I know. That's why it kills me. This morning I woke up and I had a splitting headache because I need 8 hours pretty much uninterrupted to be functional.
Jay said, seriously think I quit my job. I hate it and miserable and depressed.
Oh, Jay.
I will say, that's tough.
That is tough.
It was when COVID went through, I switched jobs and thought I was moving up into a better position, and it wasn't the case. I suffered through it for a year, and honestly, it messed me up mentally.
It mentally,
took a while.
like, it was very taxing.
So totally understand.
And that
Fortunately,
trickles,
I made it through my year mark, and from where I work, that's when you can apply out to other positions. I really didn't want to leave the company because I've been there
13 years or so.
I just hit 14.
Yeah.
So I was able to apply out, but that is a very tough spot. I can totally understand.
It trickles
messes
down
with
too.
you inside and outside of work.
It trickles down.
Yeah, I mean, I still have.
I think that's the part where, like, we were the most unhappy because he'd be really stressed and miserable, and then I would get stressed and miserable because he was stressed, and it just trickles down. So we'll be praying for you, bud, because I know that is not a happy place to be. Yeah. That is not a happy place to be.
Honestly, you feel trapped sometimes. That's the way I felt. Like,
yeah,
I know I need a job. I don't like it, and fortunately, it worked out where I was able to get something better. And believe it. Hopefully, that'll be the same case for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say Emma? Girl, I love sleep too.
Yeah, girl, I love sleep.
Emma said, "We have Simply Safe right now. No cameras yet. The internet connection is opening up that option."
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Simply Safe too. So
yeah,
I wouldn't hesitate to try their cameras. I'm trying to think what my sister has that she uses. It might be Wise that Fairview mentioned, but they have one in their barn because their barn's close by, so they can watch. Yeah, they were rubbing that in my wife's face.
Yeah,
like, hey,
but so I'm like, it's because your barn is like 12 yards from your house.
In a good way. We gotta check for each other. So, but yeah, that would be super nice to have. So
it would, especially for when we on the one-off occasions we do leave the farm.
Yeah,
like it's nice to be able to look out and to give someone a heads up, because sometimes we really do try to work our vacations around those four-legged crazies out there. And
for sure. What's wrong?
He's just like staring at a dead bug on the floor.
Okay.
That's what Bingo does.
Sorry, dogs.
Yeah.
He's transfixed on a dead bee on the floor.
Remember when you had the cast with the spiders?
Yes, I remember. He used it as a club.
Yeah.
He would kill bugs that way. It was very.
Her.
Oh.
Yeah, like they know what's going on.
I can assume that you can hear my daughter behind the computer, but we probably can't. Jay says, "Thank you. Prayers definitely needed and appreciated. It's pretty bad when you are 51 and still trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up." I know.
51. You still got time to figure it out. Bud.
You're still a young feller.
I don't know. I see Jay's all as the previous experiences. I'm jealous of that.
I know.
What, the mountain bike ride? I think he even said scuba diving. Apparently male dancer in that one life.
I know the one. I've died. You guys were having that live, and you had your fan mail that had like $1 for the.
We were dying laughing.
I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is so funny."
He's got so much experience in different things. It makes me feel like I haven't gone on done.
Yeah, haven't experienced a lot of things.
Yeah, that is a tough spot. So Rosinski said, "Gotta go. Just wanted to say hi. Have a blessed night."
Thanks, you too. Thank you for stopping by.
I must say, I accidentally tested the security system and found out it takes 12 to 13 minutes for the county sheriff to get to our place. Hey, now you know.
That's not a terrible response time, though, for county sheriff.
We've had a couple times the smoke detector thing's nice, but we've had a couple burnt dinners that set it off, which is fun. And then one time I was working on a weed eater and decided to start it in the basement, and that puts off a lot more smoke than I realized, and that set it off once. Which my daughter and the nephew and niece were here, and they all went busting outside thinking the house was on fire.
They freaked.
Yeah.
Like, they just got out. They didn't care where we were at. They ran.
Fairview asked, "Are you planning on going to the Michigan Goat Breeders?"
I'm really thinking about it. I've got so many shows I want to go to, though, so I really
already
have to narrow down. And I don't know. It's my first year showing, so I'm really like.
And honestly, gas prices are going to come into factor. I mean.
It is. So like the further away. So like I know the heart of Indiana is in Johnson County, and or Danville, is that Danville or Johnson County? I can't remember. One of those two. It's only like an hour and a half, and those are the shows that I will 100% go to. 3 hours might be like my limit to go to, just because of gas prices. And this year we're doing milk testing, and I'm signed up to be a host for linear appraisals. So I'm really hoping that between milk testing and appraisals, I will really be able to figure out who deserve to stay in a breeding program here and who need to go on to be backyard milkers for a family that just wants a sweet doe that is milk stand trained, that can produce milk, just might not be a showstopper, and might not have the highest score when it comes to conformation or milk production, but would be enough for a small family. So yeah, I have a feeling at the end of this year it'll be a big reduction. I'm not saying like I don't think some of my goats are good. I just know that I'm gonna have to go into it saying only the best stay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to create a threshold. And I'm not good at creating thresholds for quality because I love my goats. But I also realize like for what I'm doing, I cannot keep all of them. And that means if I have a limited amount that can stay here, then it can only be the best that meet all of these specific parameters. I'm just trying to figure out what those parameters are. So I think at the end of this year, I will have a really big herd reduction, and that really, really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I might try to code that show. I don't know how I went all the way down
like I said,
that rabbit trail, but I did.
On gas prices, because like we're even looking at some of the travel for Homesteaders America, because that's going to be a little bit of a trip. Rental car prices actually look like they're decent right now for it, so we'll probably rent a car just to keep the miles off of ours, and hopefully gas isn't crazy then, because even like Freedom Homestead was talking yesterday, like could change plans if it's like $10 a gallon, you might just have to
just eat the ticket. It's cheaper to eat the ticket than to pay for the gas to get there.
I mean, we've talked about possibly Gulf Coast Homesteaders meet up. And that one we're really just watching airline prices to see what that would entail. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts, like economically, but I will take it back to my goats too. I'm milk testing, so if I have to leave here while I have girls on milk test, that means I have to be milked twice a day, even if I'm not here. And I don't want to have someone come here to run my milk machine or anything like that twice a day, because we're out in the middle of nowhere. I do have people that would do it for me 100%. I know I have people that would have no problem doing that for me, but asking that of somebody just feels wrong to me because it's my responsibility. So that's also hinging on how I'm making my decisions. Jay said, so they have to go. You get for work. We'll be hopefully doing our seed swap video this weekend after I'm done with work. First video in weeks. Love you guys.
Love you too, Jay. Tell Cheryl we say hello, and we hope everything.
And keep your head up, bud.
Yeah, everything's going to get better. We're praying for you.
Yeah, Emma said Matt's in the same place. He does have a good job. He just doesn't like what he does anymore. Wish he could be a stay-at-home dad. The big change for me was, I mean, I sort of like to work. Sometimes I do get frustrated to work because it's insurance. I'm like, I wish I could have got something more with my lifestyle, like excavation or something where I could have equipment. But I honestly, in this new job, have a better team around me, and that's been the most uplifting part. Being able to talk to people, because being at home, you don't have that interaction.
That's true.
And having a team, like team members I was familiar with, I actually had worked with before, and they're all open to just chat, which is nice because I didn't have that before. I'd sit there and honestly didn't get much training going into it, so I'd just struggle through everything.
It was a lot like him being isolated, because when I would come home, I wasn't working remotely when he was. So I would come home and he would want to go out and run and talk my head off. And I was like, I have done nothing but people all day. I don't want to talk and I don't want to go anywhere. I want to sit here quietly by myself or just go hug my goats. So like for us, that caused a lot of friction. Not like terrible friction, but it was just one of those where I'm like, okay, tonight you're going to have to just eat the feeling, get outside, move around, because I don't have the energy. And there would be other nights where I'm like, I'm going to make myself go out and we're going to have a good time.
And I'll be honest, it's a hard feeling to express, like how you feel. You just don't feel good and you don't know how to really explain it. So
I get that tough now. Working remotely, I do get that. And Mark's like, it's because you're at home all the time. He's like my ergonomic coach too. He'll be like, you have not left your computer in 6 hours. He's like, I've timed you. You have sat there. You have not gone to the bathroom. You have not taken a break. You've not walked away for 6 hours. You need to go eat, get up, and walk. Now it's easier because it's springtime, so I want to be outside and I want to be out in the barn while the goats are kidding. So
Jay said at least I'm like always, man. Always.
Shake what your mama gave you, Jay.
You never know what could blow up and make you rich. Who knows?
I heard Muddy Feet is a good one on YouTube.
Yeah,
you could try that.
You got pretty toes. Who knows? Emma said, so gas aside, would love to come visit for a weekend and get a taste of goat chores.
You should. Yeah, you should.
Anybody wants to come out and get a taste of goat chores, actually, I'll always take that out. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we'd open to people visiting all the time. So
and that does happen all the time. People are like, we want to come out. It's just getting us to where I'm like, can I bear them being here while
bring her
doing
daughter
my
and
chores?
do a K-pop video
with the goats.
There you go. Be the first.
probably not stay off
Call
of
it-
her.
oh,
They're
yeah.
super friendly, but
G-pop or goat pop.
goat pop.
There you go. That would work.
G-pop.
Rosinski asks, are you all going to HOA? We have our
Yes,
tickets.
we have
We're
our
planning to
tickets.
go. So
Are you going?
it's Life with Belinda and Chuck.
Hello,
Hello.
with
Good
Belinda
to
and
see
Chuck.
you guys
How are
again.
you? Welcome, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Jay with his little kissy face.
Yeah. Matt's been so busy lately. I have to text him to remind him to eat lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's easy
it
to
does
get pulled
like
into
that.
it. Yeah.
It gets kind of crazy.
And it's funny. I think even with after COVID and stuff, it you just feel like you have to find something to focus on. Sometimes it is work where you just get tied into it and lose yourself a bit.
Especially like in the winter times.
I hate to say it, that whole year 2020 and then 2021, it just has messed with people so much mentally, really. We're heavily involved in our church, and just seeing a lot of the requests come in, just people need uplifting mentally. They're stretched thin and stressed. It's a really sad state.
It is
to
to know the battles that people go through, and most of the time will go through very silently. That they're only kind of open to sharing you with you in certain circumstances and situations. But like there have been times where I'm just like it was people that I never would have thought were struggling. Never would have been like, you seem like you've got it all together, and they're just like, I've just been in an abysmal place for so long. They're like, it's easy for me to
a good place there, saying traumatized pretty much.
Yeah,
that's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I find it weird. I never me either. I never forget
my
to
stomach
eat.
Doesn't let me.
I wish I could forget a couple meals a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely don't. And my stomach, as soon as lunchtime hits. But it's funny, our lunch cycles are different. She's
very
eats
different.
hers late.
I eat mine late.
Early.
He'll get up at like 11 and go eat, and I'm like, dude, it's not 1:30 yet. Why are you eating?
Morozinski said, yes, we're so excited. We even booked
our
Airbnb.
I hope we get to hook up with you guys.
Yeah, definitely get in touch with Ashley when you get down there.
That's so fun. Yes.
So we can meet up.
Yes.
Because we are honestly very timid people, and like we were talking
this
to
is easy.
Yeah.
I don't see you. I'm not trying to read your body language.
We're sort of shy socially, as funny as it
tone.
sounds. So like Celtic Roots was down there, and like we didn't get to interact with them. Like, they seem very
like
cool.
they seem like they're too cool.
Yeah,
we
so
don't
we act shy in
them.
person, but honestly, we open up quick. So Emma,
unless you're Emma knew. She's like, I'll take them to a burger joint and
Emma knows how to get us out of our show.
We're gonna eat food, and I love burgers, so it was not hard for me to break out.
Definitely, but we actually started looking at some of our bookings for HOA last night. So, like I said, the rental car prices seem in a good spot. We'll probably go and book one of those because they, I think, have free cancellation up to 24 hours before. And then we're going to start looking at hotels or places to stay. So, good time to get it out there right now before
it gets too much crazier.
So, hotels seem like they were pretty high compared to last year, though. So I don't know if that's just in general hotels are higher. I mean, we don't travel a lot, so
perhaps
maybe somebody on here knows, but they were a little bit higher.
What? Why did you take your earrings off in the barn?
Emma said, we can't wait for HOA. So excited to see everyone again and meet new people.
Yes. It's always a good time.
Down there.
It is a good time. We really did come back feeling very refreshed, like just energized, which kind of sucks because it's in October where things here are kind of starting to wind down. Yeah. But it does kind of help you to set pretty good goals going into the next season.
It rejuvenated us in the way of like planning for this upcoming year. And honestly, the new raised garden bed area and the ducks, I think honestly fed off of some of that energy that we...
Yeah, because we did come home and start working on those immediately.
And there's just so many good speakers there too. I mean...
You oftentimes, I feel like when we're talking to people that don't live the way that we do, which is all honesty, it's a lot of people that don't live with self-sufficiency at the heart of like their lifestyle. When you tell them what you do, they ask you questions like, why would you? And you almost feel like you have to defend why you've decided to take on the lifestyle that you have. But there it's not like that because you're actually sharing your experiences and people are sharing theirs and they're very similar. And it just is, it's a breath of fresh air because you don't feel like you have to defend it, and we even live in a pretty agricultural type area. So you tell like a farmer, like we do this, like, well, why? Because they're so used to doing it like on a
business
larger
level,
scale
yeah.
with like big equipment, and they're not they put in their time, but it's like different time, it's different type of labor. So I think they know how hard it is for them, like even on a commercialized level, they're like, why would you want to do this recreationally, on your land? So even in an agricultural community, it is like, well, we do it because of this. Why do you do it? And it's like, because this is what pays the bills. This is what my family's done. And Jude, I swear, stop. Hey, quit.
Where are you at?
She's right under my feet.
Yeah.
Barking.
Rosinski said, I maybe get supper. I really don't eat during the day because I'm constantly in the kitchen. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's why we did Airbnb cheaper than hotels. So we definitely need to look into Airbnbs too. That's a good call out.
Yeah.
Emma said, I think the timing is great. Things are winding down and you're planning for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what helped us a lot.
Yeah, it is time when you have, it is a part of the year where you do have time to kind of just focus on making plans, because I feel like right now, this is the time of year where we start to fly by the seat of our pants on a more daily basis, because things are happening and they're happening fast, and we're slaves to the weather, and we're slaves to a life outside of this, because like Joe's got softball, or we've got fair, or we've got family. We're very involved with our church. And there are just lots of things that will pull you away, and it's all busy in spring, summer, and early fall. I feel like maybe that is I will take that back then. That is a good time of year to have it, because everything's died down enough where you do feel like you can get away from your homestead and to spend time with other homesteaders and find time.
We're not where our stuff is right now. So the kidding going on.
No. Actually, some of like the spring ones, I flat out told people no. I will be kidding. I will be kidding.
Well, we've held them for 2 hours. So.
Well, she's checked Tiana for me. I want to check ligaments.
I know you'll be up
and I need to put everybody up. So. Yeah. So
it was wonderful talking to everybody.
Yes, I so enjoyed it
every week. So glad we got a chance to touch base.
Yeah, we did.
Talk all things fun.
Yeah, so we hope that you guys enjoy talking with us.
Yep.
Hopefully, we'll be here next Wednesday. I don't know. It could change with kidding. We are wanting to bring you guys along on a live for kidding. I almost brought you today, but then things started happening quickly before I could hit live on YouTube, and I was like putting on the gloves and jumping in the pen. So hopefully we'll get to do that, but I think that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. We hope that you are all having a great night. We hope you're all staying healthy out there and being kind to one another, and we will catch you in the next one.
Yep. God bless.
God bless you.